All right, we're back with another Boss Steel Blades exclusive. Today we are looking at a Great Eastern Cutlery 77, the Yankee Barlow, with dyed smooth camel bone covers. This is knife number 771225. Let's get into the model. So Great Eastern Cutlery has re-released the 77s, and this was the third knife from the run that I picked up. The cover material on this is camel bone, and I couldn't be happier with it. I think this knife is absolutely gorgeous. This is Northfield trim, so what you're talking about is a mirror polished blade, long pull, cut swedge, extended bolsters that are fluted and stamped. And yeah, this knife is pretty perfect as far as I'm concerned. Here is your Northfield tube, standard stuff. Here's your pin, Northfield UN-XLD Yankee Barlow number 77. You can dig it. Put this aside. Here's little extras that Joel always throws in with your purchases. So this knife, as it came to me, I was just ecstatic about it. I mean, these covers are exactly what I had in mind. I was hoping in going after this knife that I would end up with something like this. Some of the, these are smooth camel and they're dyed, and some of the examples that were out there are more orange or bluish or greenish, and that's fine. Those are great, don't get me wrong. Just I like when bone covers have a natural look to them. So I was really pleased when this is what I ended up getting. I really couldn't be happier in that regard. When the knife came to me, it did need to be flushed. The action was better than I've seen on some other examples as far as the main was concerned. I did flush the knife. This is my evidence of that. This was the first one. You can see how little came out there, and then 2, 3, 4, really picking up the pace with those 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like 12 and 13 with some wiping in there. So, but flushing the joint really makes all the difference. I'm very pleased with the action on this. Good snap, good action. It could be a little heavier going into half stop, but I like the closing. The secondary is a pen blade. So again, mirror polished, drawn swedge on that one. Not bad there, and it keeps getting better. So I'm happy with the action. I've seen some guys get 77s from this run and post about them in the groups and that kind of thing, and the action will be absolutely terrible. And I say to them, just flush it. Start flushing the knife. It'll bring it back to life. And all arguments aside about whether or not that should be the case with the cost of the knives and this, that, and the other, none of that matters once you've purchased the knife and you're sitting there with it in your hand and you're not happy with it. At that point, flush it. Get it done. It'll get better. Flush it, sharpen it, use it. You'll be happy with it. As far as this knife is concerned, the quality of these covers, I mean, and granted, this is all preference. Some people would like something more colorful, but for me, this is perfect. So much character in this, and which it's ironic because I believe it's got added character because of the dye, and what I like about it is that it leaves it natural looking. So you see the cracks going up the bone. These are all stabilized, so you can't feel them. It's perfectly smooth. I don't expect to have any problem with it. Great Eastern Cutlery didn't sell this as an S. This is a regular model, so I have no doubt that these will be plenty strong enough, just as strong as they need to be. As far as camel bone is concerned, I was looking for information on the history of camel bone in pocket knives, and finding anything definitive was pretty difficult. What I did find was that camel bone has a really long history in knives. I mean, going back to quote-unquote ancient times is what I read. So it's got a long history. It goes way back. But as far as in-pocket knives, I don't know. One thing I did find, or did get onto, was the difference between camel bone and bovine. Bovine being cattle bone, or cow. I read a lot of different comments about this, a lot of different opinions, and people saying different things, having different ideas. What I will say that I think is definitive is that camel bone is a more dense bone. It's harder and it's less porous. Additionally, in the midst of all this, looking through a thread, Derek Bone from Knives Ship Free jumped in and commented. Derek Bone he's passed away at this point, but when he was alive, he owned Knives Ship Free, and he's the one who brought us Northwoods Knives as we know it today, the brand. And he jumped in and commented and said how much he loved camel bone because, well, one, he said it is a more dense bone, but on top of that, he said how much he liked it because it took dye differently than bovine did. He didn't say better, he didn't say worse, he just said it took the dye differently. And maybe it does. I mean, I'm sure it does, but maybe that's why we see so much character in all the pieces. I can't remember, not if I've ever seen it, it's not many camel bone pocket knives that are one solid color that they dye it. Maybe they have a technique for getting it kind of imperfect like this. But this looks great. I mean, certainly no complaints. I wanted to do a little comparison. Being that this is a Northfield, I wanted to show it against a Titty from the same run. This is the GEC 77 in Gabon Ebony. So same knife, but Titty trim. I was really, when I reviewed this, when I got this Titty and I reviewed it, I was really caught by the way that they drew that swedge. And I just wanted to compare it against the long pull, and maybe that's why they did it that way. I mean, the Titty doesn't have a long pull, it's got a nail nick. So otherwise, you're talking same territory there. But I thought all that was interesting. I mean, when I got this one and I looked at that, I thought, I wonder what the Northfields are going to look like. And I think that they did this perfectly. Let's look. There's your billboard, Yankee Barlow. That long pull is perfect. Executed perfectly. Stops right before the tang. And that drawn swedge, look at that. It's just perfect. And that's nothing crazy for Grayson Cutlery. I don't know. It was the same on the marrowbone that I reviewed on Slipjoint display. I love the way that that's done. And it's, for whatever reason, it stands out on this knife. Let's have a look around real quick. So, what, 3-inch blade, 2 3/4 cutting, 3 3/4 handle, two-inch cutting on the pen, 2 1/4 total, something like that. This pen blade is good. A lot of the action on a lot of these is really weak, but I think it'll come up. I mean, this Titty, when I first opened it, had really bad action, and it's only gotten better. That pen is still a little bit weak, but it'll come along. Quite frankly, I'm really not concerned with a pen blade anyway. I mean, the main blade is the one that really gets my attention. Hidden tang on these pen blades. I knew when I after opening and closing this a few times before flushing it, I knew this mane was going to come up well. I knew the action on it was going to be good. Not to say that you can't have one that doesn't have that and bring it along. I'm just saying. Not quite flush at half stop. And not quite on the pen blade either. Let's look for gaps. What do we see? Yeah, a little bit of gapping in there. And a little bit farther down. That's all right. Nothing that you can see from the outside. Yeah, it looks great. Different size springs on this too. I mean, different size blades, so it makes sense. I'm just noting. Nice brass liners. Strike down the middle on each blade. Yeah. What a great profile on the knife. In past runs, or at least one past run, I think it was a pen blade that was on the pile side. Some people in the community have noted that on these, the secondaries in front of the main. I don't mind that. I think that it looks good. Keeps the knife looking busy. Now, the fact that there's a secondary there does mean that this is fingernail all the way. There's no pinching this knife, but the pull isn't so heavy that it causes a problem. So I can dig it. Recently, I got in the mail a couple of slips from Richter, and I think I'm going to pair this knife with this slip. This is one of the ones that I got from him, and I like it, and I need a slip for this knife. I don't have a dedicated slip for 77s yet. This knife might get its own slip. I don't know. I think I put it in here once or twice. We'll see. We'll see how it feels in there. I'll have to make a decision on it. This bone is out of this world. You know, if it's going to be smooth bone, this is how it should be. This is the way it should look. Yeah. Couldn't be better for what I like. Couldn't have done a better job with it. I know that there's a lot of people that wanted to get in on this run and this model. There wasn't a lot of these made. I've heard, little stories here and there in the community. What's your experience with it? And what's your experience with camel bone? Do you have it? Did you have it? Is it something you avoid or something that you're chasing or wish you had or you'll try it at some point? I've heard a few stories from a few guys here and there about having camel bone knives and dropping them and the bone not breaking. I don't know if, given the fact that camel bone is denser and less porous and harder than bovine, if it is a stronger material or if it is more prone to cracking and chipping and breaking. I don't know. I don't want to find out either. Get down in the comments. Let us know what you think. We'll have some discussion there. And I'll see you guys on the next video.